Thank you, Drew. What a fantastic start to this conference. And I think you've got us all thinking, Drew. You certainly got me thinking. I'm so pleased to be here with you all. I can't tell you how good it feels to have you all here in my constituency of Jarrow and Gateshead East. And I want to welcome all our friends online and here in person, especially all the international guests that are listening and watching. I'm looking forward to hearing all of your contributions and to celebrating the launch of the Gateshead and Newcastle Declaration with you later. The title of my keynote speech is Protecting LGBTQ+ rights in the face of a global pushback. What can we do here in the UK and globally? But first, I realise that some of you won't know who I am, so I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. As has been said, I'm the Member of Parliament in the UK, and as I said earlier and Drew mentioned, this venue is in my constituency. And I've been a Member of Parliament since 2019. But I'm not only speaking here because I'm out and proud and have been for 40 years. And I'm giving my age away there. When I was first elected, there weren't many out MPs, but now I'm one of around 70. That's more than 10%, making us here in the UK the gayest parliament in the world. And before I was elected, I spent my working life in Royal Mail, 25 years. And in the UK's largest workers' trade union, Unite, campaigning for equalities, and I spent 10 years also as a local councillor here in the North East. I've spent my whole adult life fighting for equality and being out and proud, and I promise that I will continue for the rest of my life and for as long as I'm elected to the House of Commons to use my platform to stand up for our community and continue to work to enhance the lives and the rights of everyone in our LGBTQ+ community. So getting back to protecting LGBTQ+ rights in the face of a global pushback. I know that many of us are hurting, that we're scared about what the future holds. I feel it when I read the many emails that I get from people with LGBTQ+ kids, from trans constituents, when I hear some of the awful rhetoric from politicians, and when I read some of the absolute tripe that some of the mainstream media come out with, let alone all the hate we see daily on social media and on the news. I even feel it amongst the parliamentarians that I sit alongside, many of whom were happy to waive their credentials as great LGBTQ+ allies when it suited them, but have since sold out, staying silent on the sidelines, or worse, joining the small but well-organised and well-funded groups of bigots who seek to divide us. So many have chosen to turn their backs on our trans and non-binary siblings at a time when their very existence is being used, along with many other marginalised communities, as political footballs and convenient scapegoats. But we must stand together, we must organise together, and we must take on any hateful rhetoric together. We must also have conversations and engage, and that is what this conference is all about. Many of you will have your own deeply personal experiences of what the current climate for the LGBTQ+ community, particularly our trans and non-binary siblings, feels like, and it's really tough. We've gone back to hearing a narrative about electability, as if abolishing diversity, inclusion and equality initiatives wins more votes. Politicians pandering to a war on woke that is smoke and mirrors, when all the vast majority of people want is decent housing, decent schools, a doctor's appointment, and to feel safe. Across the US and now Europe, we are seeing challenges to the hard-won rights of our LGBTQ plus community. These challenges have their roots in many of the far-right movements. We know how organised and well-funded those who seek to divide us are. We know that a lot of the money in attacks on LGBT rights and women's rights comes from the far right, from the US, and it's flooding into Europe. We've seen lesbians in Italy who are the non-childbearing parent have their parental rights removed at the stroke of a pen. We've seen Hungary bring forward legislation to erase trans people and try to ban pride marches and encroach on the rights of LGBTQ plus people. Georgia brought forward a bill to ban equal marriage, and Bulgaria has brought in a ban on inclusive education. A stark reminder that progress is not linear and that rights gained can still be rolled back or taken away completely. We can take strength from how far we have come and how much we've achieved. 40 years ago when I came out, I would never have imagined that I would have 2 boys and be one of the first same-sex couples to go through IVF, and that society would have been so much more accepting and that we would have broken down so many barriers. We must learn the lessons from previous generations and take strength from each other, from the rainbow families around us, from those challenging the legal decisions in the courts, those providing sanctuary when needed and spaces to organise, and those using their platforms to call out inequality and to highlight what's happening. Our community supports each other. We bring hope and we bring solidarity. We can be proud of standing up together, proud to be in this room together, proud of the people that turn up from the international community to Budapest Pride, to the thousands of cis women in the UK organising together in a new collective, saying not in our name. Allies standing up to fight for us and refusing to allow those preaching hate against our trans siblings claim to be the voice of all women. In the UK, we have so far failed to bring in legislation on conversion practices. Despite promises from every government for decades, we've failed to bring in legislation to deal with hate crime against LGBT people as an aggravated offence. But we will introduce those things. And I'm working with, and just last week met with the Minister for Women and Equalities to work on a plan to bring in this legislation as soon as possible. We had a huge setback with the Supreme Court judgment and the impact that it's had on our trans community. But our community is fighting back. Just last week, we saw the Human Rights Commissioner of the Council of Europe taking the issue head on and telling ministers that the way the UK is treating trans people could breach the European Convention on Human Rights. And we've seen the Equality and Human Rights Commission finally withdraw their awful guidance that was utterly unworkable. Events like this and the work you're all doing are absolutely crucial. This event comes at a vital moment in our struggle to not just protect or only protect and defend the rights that we have as a community, but to build on them. I want to thank ReportOUT Pride Action North, Out North East, and all the organisations and individuals who have worked tirelessly to make this summit possible. Organisations like yours and your courage, your vision and your hard work are the bedrock of our movement. I work closely with Peter and Drew in the community, and I'm so pleased to have them here in my constituency, benefiting not just the North East, but beyond. As I've said, as a lesbian member of Parliament in the Labour Party, I stand here not only as a representative of my constituents, but as someone whose identity is bound up in the struggle for safety, dignity, and equality. So I speak both as a policy and lawmaker, as someone for whom, but also, as someone for whom these issues are personal. Like many of us, I was there during the AIDS and HIV crisis when many in the media and society turned their backs on our gay siblings, when they were actively persecuted and ignored, ostracised and shamed. What the history books doesn't always tell you is that many of us lesbians were there, supporting and organising, doing our bit. And it's amazing. It's amazing to see the AIDS memorial quilt here. And once again, the lesbians are here. We are not going to be told by a small band of bigots that our trans and non-binary siblings erase us. We're not going to be told that our identities or existence as queer and lesbian women are in question or that we are in danger, because we are not. Every part of our community is beautiful. The diversity of our movement is our strength. Without our Black and minority ethnic queers and our disabled community, we're not able to have the range of voices and perspectives that we do. We need to respect and embrace our differences and where we intersect so that we are all safer to be me, whatever and whoever that me is. I'm very conscious of the privilege and the power that I hold, but I have to tell you that that privilege and power comes at a cost. We live in a time where to be a politician is more dangerous than ever, never mind being a woman or a lesbian. And I don't say that to look for sympathy, far from it. I mention it because making our politics safer, more inclusive and more accessible is absolutely crucial to our struggle. We need allies, of course, but we also need our members of Parliament speaking up from our community, and we need to be able to do so without fear and without being attacked. This time last year, I spoke at a conference talking about the rise in violence against LGBTQ women, with women politicians from Poland, Italy and across Europe. And of course, what we all had in common is that we all faced and had faced and continue to face sexist, homophobic abuse. I've faced some awful homophobic remarks online and in real life, simply for being open about my sexual orientation. I've had a poster campaign of hate in roads not too far from here, but I will not let them silence me. And that is what it is designed to do, to silence our community, to stop people like me using our platform to call it out and to highlight the increase in sexism, misogyny, homophobia, etc. that LGBTQ women face. But we will not be silenced. Together we will fight for our rights, our safety and our future. We will fight for a world in which LGBTQ+ rights are normalised, not exceptional, and we will win. This summit is a moment, but the real work happens after the panels, after the networking, after the signing of the declaration. This summit is not a mere conference, it is a declaration, it is a commitment, local to global, that we will not retreat, that being and living as our true, authentic selves is not a luxury, but a right. We face systemic and structural challenges, from the gaps and postcode lottery in fertility care, the attacks on gender-affirming care, and the pink and rainbow washing by so many corporate brands. But there's a lot to do. What sustains me, what I hope sustains all of us, is this incredible energy that we can bring together. It's not enough for me or any MP to legislate in silence. We need your voices, your power, your insistence on dignity and safety for all. Whether or not it's fighting for legal protections and enforcement, to ensure that anti-discrimination laws are not just symbolic, to fighting for respect and access to healthcare, to fighting to remove the barriers we face, to fighting this nonsense we are seeing back in our schools with instructions to stop any mention of gender. We will fight together, and we will fight on the international stage, because our struggle here in Gateshead, in the UK, is tied to the struggles of someone in Ghana, in Belgium, in Brazil, in Rwanda, in Russia, in Nigeria, in Ireland, in Poland, in Taiwan, in the US, and beyond. We must stand with global movements tackling authoritarianism, religious fundamentalism, and state repression, recognising that no one is free until we all are. So I'm well over my time. I need to finish, and I'll finish as I started, with a promise that as the MP for Jarrow East, I will champion your priorities in Parliament, locally, nationally, internationally. I will push for legislation, funding oversight and accountability, and I will stand in solidarity with your struggles now and forever. Thank you.